Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana weather. It is about 7:40 Eastern Time here of the evening, and it is Saturday. It is July the 5th, 2014, folks. It's a great day outside, isn't it? It's been mostly sunny today with temperatures barely reaching into the 80s. Can't beat that with a stick, and 70s for a high on the 4th of July. Absolutely beautiful weather, but I've got big changes in store for you in the forecast that we're going to talk about, including the potential of some severe weather this week. Today's video update is sponsored by Metal Magic in Washington. Give Chad a call at 698-8555 for all of your paintless and repair needs. Folks, they also have that traveling hail team, so make sure you write that number down. We do have some hail and wind gusts to talk about potentially for Monday and Tuesday in the forecast, so it's a possibility that you may need that. So write that number down, and of course, they're located there in Washington across from the Radio Shack. Tell them Southern Indiana Weather sent you if you do end up going there. Here's a live look at satellite and radar, and you can see nothing radar as far as we are concerned around here. You've got some rain up to our north around Peoria, in between Peoria and Chicago, but that's sort of moving off to the north. Nothing Southern Indiana is going to have to deal with. But we've got the clouds, sort of what we call debris clouds blowing in off of these thunderstorms. This actually was a decent little line of thunderstorms today whenever it was down here in the Des Moines area, and then that pushed through and is sort of destroying itself and gone. And you can see now we've got temperatures here. They're going to fall through the night, obviously, but we've got some of those clouds blowing in, so it looks like it's not going to be a clear night like we saw last night, probably more of a partly cloudy night. But the big story we want to talk about here is take a look at the dew points. Still very dry air. In fact, such dry air, if we throw on the heat index, no heat index to even be found around here because the dew points are just too dry to be able to get that as a heat index. But notice this. Here you go with 70s off here in Missouri, mid 60s and even low 70s here for dew points in Missouri. And folks, this is all pushing our direction. So it's coming. The muggy-o-meter is it's on its way, and it's going to be here again. Let me show you what's going on here with the surface map to get you an idea of where we're going to be at this week. We got a cold front that's going to move through and bring us some refreshment a little bit later in the week. But it's going to take a little while, and we've got some muggy weather to talk about before we get. Now, here's where we are right now, but watch this cold front and see how this moves. We got the advancing of a cold front here. Watch how this goes. Here's by tomorrow morning. Watch this cold front drop down tomorrow afternoon. So it looks like we stay pretty well dry here. We'll look at that on future radar in a minute. That cold front starts to mirror us, though. By the time Monday morning comes, you got a cold front off to our north. And then notice how very quickly it sweeps into our area, up to just north of the Indianapolis area, the way it looks like here by Monday evening. Tuesday at 0Z, that'd be Monday at 8 p.m. Now, if I switch over to another view here, we can take a look at this, and you see that once you come in here from Monday night into Tuesday morning, the low that's over here will actually start to slide off this way, and as it does, that will actually lift that front back to the north of us, and it will take until Tuesday before that front finally comes through. So here we go by Wednesday morning at about 8 a.m. Finally on Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, that front nears the area and it clears out of the area, sort of stalls down to the south, but then high pressure starts to take over, and that will be in charge of us for a couple of days, providing us at least some nice weather. Behind that cold front, we've got a brief reprieve, but it will be very brief in reprieve in regards to temperatures. In fact, if I just show you this, we'll take a look at what the GFS ensembles are saying temperature reprieve-wise. Wednesday, once that front moves through, we dip down to a high of 83 according to the ensembles, but 91, 87, boom, down to 83, and then back up to the upper 80s to even near the 90-degree mark through the rest of the period. So you can see it'll be a short-lived reprieve according to the ensembles. And looking over all of the available data here, whenever I get to the forecast here in just a little bit, you'll see reflected in my 7-day outlook as well. So the warm-up's coming back, short, sweet, and to the point of it. Now, let's take a look at our high-res NAM, and we'll take a look at future radar, kind of sort of time everything out here. Here we go into the wee hours tonight. Again, as I say, nothing action going down on here. We had some shower activity that I showed you on the radar here a little bit ago. That pushes into northern Indiana tonight. That's not going to have to anything that we have to worry about. That pretty much stays from Indianapolis north, the way the models want to take this. By tomorrow afternoon, you notice you got some storms blowing up out here and moving down potentially our way, but you notice they sort of fizzle out before they ever get here. So by the time Sunday afternoon comes, the high-res NAM not excited about any thunderstorms activity at all. do think there's still a 20% chance that, according to some of the other models, the GFS and some others want to paint the picture, that there could be some thunderstorm activity tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon and evening. It's going to be very iffy on that, and if we do, it's only going to be a 20% chance anyway, is the way I've put it into my forecast. So again, nothing to get too excited about tomorrow. An isolated strong storm maybe, but that'd be about it. Better chance of severe weather comes on Monday and Tuesday. Here we are into the overnight hours. Here's 5 a.m. on Monday morning, and here's 8 a.m. There you go. By 11 a.m., you got some decent rain moving through the area. Then as we go throughout the day, let's go back here into Monday evening, and we'll go into Tuesday. And you see by the early morning hours on Tuesday, you've got this complex of rain starting to move our way. Now, this will be one that we're going to have to watch as it nears our way on Tuesday. Could this potentially be severe? In fact, could any of this on Monday afternoon be strong to severe? It is certainly possible, but you see, it's not really organized into a line or anything. It's just maybe sort of a kind of a, if I can get it to pause here finally. Don't you love it when technology works like this? Here we go. You maybe start to see sort of a line start to form here, but nothing too excited about, because as you move on 3 hours later in time, you see it is pretty much congealed into just one blob of rain. So we'll have to see. Monday, I do believe that there is a chance that we could see a severe storm out of this, but I think Tuesday morning will be the better chance. Let me sort of show you that. Here's where Tuesday morning is concerned, and again, that's the better chance in my opinion. Notice the winds. We're at 500 millibars here, and notice the winds are absolutely whipping over us. Not the best wind energy that you could ever have. There decent wind energy over here, where you've got a 60 knot wind up there, but 25, 30. Actually, this looks like at least 30 knots, probably closer to 35 or 40 knots in part, and that's enough to support severe weather. Again, anywhere from 35 to 40 knots is sort of the low end threshold that I look for as far as severe weather goes. So the wind energy, it's marginally there. Instability, the good thing is during the early morning hours, whenever this moves through, you're not going to have the chance to build up that much instability with it yet. The instability, the NAM is estimating that there should be still a decent little amount of instability, but not a whole lot, less than 1,000 units across the area, essentially, in with this. Lifted indexes also, for those of you who understand some of these terms, are not overly impressive, maybe -4, -5 at most across portions of the area. It actually looks like it goes up to maybe a -7, so that's a decent negative lifted index, which just indicates a buoyancy in the atmosphere. That's a way to say that thunderstorms can develop, and it's another measure of instability. There's enough instability here that some storms definitely should be firing, and we've got some wind energy to go with it. But overall, this isn't going to be the absolute most impressive system you've ever seen. And actually, there are some disagreements with this, because here we take a look at the NAM for this time, but if I just switch over here and show you the GFS for the time, you see actually the wind energy is next to nothing in our area, and it is shifted further to the north. So for that reason, the Storm Prediction Center actually has not issued a slight risk yet because of that. Let me show you the outlooks. Here's the outlook for tomorrow. And you can see that they take that 5% marginal risk. Really just sort of Indianapolis is about right in here, so maybe down around Bloomington into points around just north of Evansville and down. So again, an isolated strong storm possible tomorrow, but nothing major to worry about there. In fact, most of us will even stay dry and won't see any rain. Now, it's going to be a different story here on Monday. You can see that the entire state and the entire area here is underneath of a 5% risk. Get a 15% zone back out to our west. That's possible. That could either be expanded into our area, or a second 15% risk zone moved over portions of Indiana. I do think that's certainly possible, but we'll see whether they do that. The data is just not it's just not completely lining up. I showed you on the GFS and the NAM for Tuesday, and honestly, for Tuesday, they're in disagreement. So in fact, Tuesday they haven't even outlined yet. Tuesday is in the day. Tuesday is in this particular room, and at this far out for Tuesday, they only issue 30% risks, and predictability is too low. Now, it doesn't mean if there's no chance, then they'll say the potential is too low. They're not saying there's potential for severe weather that is gone. What they're saying is the predictability is too low. There's no 30% risk zones that they can hatch this far out. I do think there could be a potential for a slight risk zone here. If I had to issue a slight risk zone of my own, then maybe somewhere over in this, and this is just a very rough drawing, and just to include the idea that we may end up seeing the potential for some severe weather on Tuesday. But it would be a 15% risk. It probably would not be a 30% risk, and so you would have a low end slight there. Again, we'll see you in future updates updates whether that holds or not, but certainly the chance is there. But whenever you're dealing with models that show marginal wind threat for energy, and then another model saying really basically no wind threat for energy, this could be the difference. The difference in those two energies right there is the difference between severe weather and no severe weather. It's kind of an iffy risk for us at anyway, because as the storms would be moving through during the morning hours rather than the late evening hours, when you get a chance to build up that instability during the day. So you've already got that stacked against it and working against you anyway. But the difference between having some wind energy to work with and very little wind energy to work with could be the difference in this type of a situation between severe weather and no severe weather. So depends on which one you want to believe, whether you want to be the NAM or whether you want to believe the GFS. And right now it's just kind of up in the air as to which one will hold out there. Hopefully the models will get a better handle on this in the next couple of days. But for right now, we'll just understand that severe weather is possible on Monday and Tuesday, and we'll leave it at that. And possible, but not a guarantee. And the good thing is it doesn't look like it's going to be a strong tornado threat. If anything, it's going to be a wind and hail producer out of that. So we will see. All right, let's go to southernindianaweather.com and take a look at your updated 7-day forecast. I'm going with 85 for your high tomorrow, partly cloudy and warmer. Again, the muggy weather returns. An isolated strong thunderstorm late on Sunday is possible, but again, most of us will stay dry. And I do want to emphasize that most of us will indeed stay dry. So, in fact, I haven't even put the thunderstorm icon here. Normally, I would put this icon if I was going to have a 20% chance of thunderstorms, but I am so confident that most of us will stay dry, I'm just not even putting that icon on there. But again, don't be surprised if we do see an isolated thunderstorm. The risk is there. Better chances return on Monday, a 50% chance of rain, but look at that. We're back into the 90s on Monday. Partly cloudy, hot, and humid with scattered thunderstorms. Again, strong to severe thunderstorms are possible. Muggy weather starts to come back on Monday, and then Tuesday it's a little bit more of a reprieve. Mid 80s for your high because of more clouds around, but you got more scattered thunderstorms around with a 70% chance of rain. Strong to severe thunderstorms are possible. Again, it's a very iffy type of setup. We'll continue monitoring it and see whether it happens or not. I'm not overly concerned about this risk yet, but the possibility is there, so we'll see how things pan out. Then on Wednesday, morning clouds with a chance of lingering showers again, but turning mostly sunny by midday. It's going to be a beautiful day overall. After that front moves through, we're only going to go up to about a high of 84. That's not bad. Down into the near 60-degree mark on Wednesday night, which is good. But then the slow warm-up begins. Mid-80s on Thursday, upper 80s on Friday, back to the 90s for next Saturday with isolated thunderstorms possible. So that's the way the 7-day outlook sets up. And again, as I said, yeah, it's a bit of a brief reprieve on Wednesday, and potentially here into Thursday as well. But it is again just that. It is a brief reprieve, and it's not something that's going to be a major reprieve. That's kind of the way it stands. Hey, have you downloaded our mobile app yet? Haven't talked about this for a while, but again, we do have our mobile app available for iPhone and Android. Make sure you go to Google Play for your Android phones. Just search for Southern Indiana Weather. You will be able to find it. If you're searching on iPhone, you'll go to the App Store and just search for Southern Indiana Weather, but abbreviate the state of Indiana because of the size of the title restrictions that iPhone placed on us. But that app is out there, and there's a lot of cool things on the app. You can get a great interactive radar that you can use on that. There's also the current forecast and current conditions, and you can even submit reports to us when severe weather strikes on the app, and we'll get those and be able to use those. So download that today, folks. It is a great tool, and it is there for your use. All right, that is it for this update and for this edition of Beyond the Weather, folks. I hope you have enjoyed this. We'll have another one of these videos for you, probably tomorrow, a little more in a shorter fashion. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite for Southern Indiana Weather. Have a great night, folks. Stay safe, and we will see you next time.